Okay, for my next project, I'm going to attempt to make this elk antler into a knife display. The thought process is that this will be the top, this will be the bottom. I'll make a base to attach to the wall behind here. This will get rounded off. The knives the blades will go through each tine in different areas, pointing downward. So the handle is up, the blade is down, and I'll do that in these various different tines. Now this antler was a early cutoff earlier in the season while the elk was still in velvet, and it looked something similar to this. So it took a good 2 or 3 hours to remove all this dried tissue, the velvet, and do quite a bit of sanding and wire brushing to get it to look like this. Now I'm also going to stain the majority of this kind of what you could call the, I don't know, the most common brown color that you see the elk antlers, minus the tips. I'm going to leave the tips kind of that ivory color and hopefully blend that in. So I'll take you along with me as I do that. Hopefully it turns out how I think it's going to. Got a couple starter holes, and then I have to make sure I get the right angle for how I want that blade to run through. Another nice thing about these porous antlers is that they're fairly easy to drill and cut through. Okay, I hate using this with Antler. Those of you who work with Antler will know what I'm talking about. But this is proving to be a little bit more difficult than I thought, so time to break out the big guns, I guess, the big little guns. So let's get myself power to do some cleanup here. Okay, we have success on slot number 1. Okay, so I got the next 2 starter holes drilled. At the right angle, if you can see that. Noticed that the end part of this antler, which I suspected is quite a bit harder to cut through, it's a little bit more dense, so I ended up having to go with the little mini cutoff wheel on the Dremel, and I think that's going to be working pretty good. Now I'll make my way through the rest of that. Well, a little update on making my way through this. The wife just got home and she was extremely happy about the smell. Again, those of you who work with antlers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm going to keep making my way through this. I was able to get the harder outside layer off. Now it's pretty easy going to get through the inner stuff. Okay, here's what we have so far. It's getting easier as it goes. The first hole was fairly sloppy. I'm getting this figured out as I go. So it's getting a little bit easier and a little bit cleaner. Okay, I got that last one cleaned out just enough. It's a nice snug fit. It doesn't let it go past the bevel. So let's add the other two. And to be honest, I think if I was to do another slot here, it might be a little too busy for this. So I think I'm going to go with that for now. If I decide to put another one in later, should be no problem. But I'll move on to some sanding, shaping, and staining. Okay, so what I'm hoping to do is to use these two. What do we have? Gun stock and espresso, and come up in between the two for the kind of brown that I'm hoping for. Okay, so I'll take you through some of the progress so far. I started out with the gun stock, which is a little bit brighter, more vibrant red, and then you can see these areas here are still just a lighter coat of the gun stock, and then going through with the espresso color to get the more natural color that you see here, and I'll continue to add that on up. Part of the key is to actually make sure you get the color in those low spots. And then rub a little bit off from the high spots to give it a more natural look. When you look at a brown antler closely, that's brown because of the vegetation that it's been rubbing in. That brown and that vegetation and the dye from it is trapped in those low spots, and that gives it that darker look. And if you look closely, you'll see the high spots are what's rubbed back to the ivory or white color. Well, I think that that looks about where I want it. So now back to the, while that dries good, back to finishing the wall mount stand, which will be this piece and the back piece coming up. Oh, I don't know, halfway up the antler or something like that. Son of a biscuit. Well, this is an easy enough fix. Just drill another hole. I think right beside it. And I'll glue this up. That won't be seen. Okay, so let's use not such an aggressive drill bit here. See how that works out for us. I'll try one right side here. Yep. All right. Okay, so she's glued up and screwed up, and I got it clamped to help with that little mishap crack that I put in there, but you aren't going to be able to see it from the other side once all that is set. So I'm going to let that set for the night and come back to it tomorrow. So my idea to mount this onto that wood is to use this bolt through the base of the wood up into the antler for a little bit better strength. By placing it on the mount itself, I know I want to drill a little bit back from center. This is the back portion that'll be facing the mount and the wall. So I'll try to drill the hole as close to 90 degrees as I can to this. We'll see how that goes. And then my idea was to actually tap it out to fit this bolt. I've put, at least on the top layer of this porous pith area, I've put a bunch of super glue in there, and on the top layer I mixed in some sawdust just to fill some of those pores. But obviously I think after I drill this out deep enough, I'll be into some more porous material. So what I'll probably end up doing is putting more super glue in there to harden that area up, to take a good thread from the tap. So we'll see how all that goes.